Dick's Balls by Ryan Alpers. I really gotta start upping my Craigslist game. I mean, I could have seen it coming from a mile away if I was as on point as Emil, my good buddy, and his straight hustle of video games. His mom's basement, every video game and console ever made. Filing cabinets full of instruction manuals. Boxes full of more empty boxes for Nintendo, Sega, Atari, and who knows what else. Impressive. Emil is a guy that would have known better, never agreed to meet there in the first place, let alone without bringing someone else along. But you know, I grew up in a family where my dad always said not to sell myself short. I guess this is what happens when you follow someone's advice to the letter. His name was Dick Fontana. He sent me an email about a posting I had on Craigslist for a bowling ball. 1940s vintage Brunswick bowling bag, shoes, ball, and more. But he was only interested in the ball. A kind of weird bowling ball Cinderella here at a gas, service, and food mart in the middle of a two-story apartment complex behind evergreen shrubs and black iron fences off San Tomas in Santa Clara. Two old dudes sitting on cheap chairs in front of the food mart watched me pull into the station, around the pump line of cars, and into a parking spot next to a coin-operated air and water machine. The machine was out of order, both hoses cut and missing the appropriate nozzles. Copper wire thieves, the crazy bastards. Get desperate enough, price of copper makes men behave like locusts. It was 11:55 on a Wednesday. I was early. The appointment, if you could call it that, was for noon. I sent him a text to let him know. He replied, "I'm off in 5 minutes, and it takes me 1 minute to get there tops." "See you soon," I texted. I turned on the car again after having turned it off with the windows down. I rolled the windows up and turned on the AC. I checked my phone. 11:57 and 86 degrees. I watched the station pumps from my rearview mirror. One of the guys next to the entrance to the mini-mart started staring at his fists. He'd start with them real close to his face, knuckles all lined up straight across his hands, and then stare at the ridges as he slowly moved them away, straight in front of himself, Frankenstein style. The other man watched, silent, next to him on his cheap white plastic chair. By the time I checked my phone again, it was 12:02. The thing with Craigslist is that you never know what's going to happen. Makes it exciting, that's for damn sure, but it certainly is not the most reliable way to make some money. And that's not even including trades, the real way to Craigslist riches. I knew a guy, hand to God, that started out with an Apple MacBook and finished with a BMW 2-carat diamond engagement ring and a baby border collar puppy. Hand to God. Dick Fontana drives a silver Crown Vic, old cop car, fitting for a bowling ball fiend. He sees my car, the Impala, and parks next to pump number 2. He walks into the mini-mart, past the 2 plastic share attendants to make change, I assume. Comes out with a brown bag and a literal fistful of dollars. I opened the door and planted my feet outside of the car. My flip-flops slipped off to the side of my foot, searing my sole to the asphalt. "Howdy," I said, shaking my sandal back on my foot. "You Dick?" "Yes, sir. Dick Fontana. I emailed about the ball." "Yeah," I said, taking a look at a man I only know because of a very specific preference of balls. "Did you get the measurements I sent you? Turns out that the distance you wanted, what was it? The distance between the thumb and finger hole," Dick said. "Right, that was something like 3¼ inches, thereabouts." "Good. It's the same ball, then. It's the only one that I've found that fits right," he said. He had a Jimmy Buffett Margaritaville cut-off t-shirt with a swordfish jumping from the sea, fishing line taut in its lip. A fishing boat, distant, has who I assume to be Mr. Buffett at the helm, reeling her in. Dick's mirrored aviator sunglasses, hiding his eyes, were on a chartreuse croquis, and he was wearing jean shorts with work boots. Pretty typical gentleman you'd expect to see specifically interested in an 80-year-old bowling ball. "Can I see it?" "Sure." I popped my trunk. He looked inside and picked up the ball from its bag. "Bag's in pretty good shape, considering the age," I said as I watched him with the ball. "I'm checking it for cracks," he said, holding the ball to the light. "Yeah, I said, having no idea what else to say, because I don't bowl for shit and know even less about it than I do, say, splitting infinitives. Let's be honest, I don't know much about that either. The shoes are also not too beat up if they're your size. Gonna be putting those in storage, most likely, Dick said. I have my own bag with wheels that holds 2 balls. We'll see about them, though. If they're my size, might use them for team practice and whatnot. Gotta keep the competition shoes like new for as long as possible. Of course, I said, nodding slowly. As long as possible. Put the ball up close to his nose and gave it a good long inhale. Then he licked it, staring straight at me. I met his stare, giving nothing. Price is still firm at $30. He just kept staring at me, tongue lightly flicking the ball. In the distance, one of the 2 guys sitting under the shade of the overhang to the mini-mart noticed us and took a photo on his smartphone. Then he showed his phone to his friend and put it away. This wasn't the first time I had to negotiate on the spot. It's generally frowned upon, especially if the goods are as advertised. But you know, people ain't got no class these days. No common decency for their other fellow internet entrepreneurs. Sometimes I think it's cultural or something. No disrespect, but the Craigslist game is nothing like the flea market game, or even the garage sale game. It is certainly not the estate sale hustle, that's for sure. There are unspoken yet agreed upon rules one must follow in order to remain civilized. Licking the merchandise was one of them, but also, too, was the cold and simple fact that you didn't try to talk down the price verbally, or in this case, otherwise, if there are no noticeable defects, and if the price is fair and reasonable. This guy, Dick, wasn't playing by the rules, though, so I had to out-crazy his crazy. I grabbed the shoes from the bag on the black asphalt. If you want, I started, you can have only the ball for $30. He kept licking and staring. Like a lizard, his eyes got real squinty, and he seemed to be having fun being this ridiculous in the parking lot of a gas station. Okay, I said, making my play, letting the thought of ball-only pricing sting his sense of self-worth. You want it by the lot, like you discussed before? He said, seemingly really getting off on this. Swear, to all that's holy, the next thing really happened. You want to know why I want this ball so bad? Not really, I said. I knew whatever he said next was going to be one of those things you never want to hear, either because it'll come back to bite you one day, like on a witness stand or some perverted sex crime escapade they make a TV movie out of. I like how these ones hang. Oh, sweet baby Jesus, I thought, please don't let these hang from where I think you hang balls. All right, friend, I'll tell you what. You give me those $30 you have, and I'll let you hang 'em high, down low, whatever. I don't really care. It's America, right? Here's 30. Pleasure doing business with you, Dick said. Thanks, I said, taking the money. He bent to pick up the bag and ball, placing the shoes inside the bag and zipping it up. That's when I noticed a huge bulge in his shorts. He saw me looking, smiled, and pulled out a banana. Driving away in the rear view, I watched Dick eat the banana while the 2 men walked toward him, arms outstretched, fondling their smartphones. Thank you.